Hello, hello, hello. Today is August 29th, 2022, and it is another Fun Day Monday show. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to give you guys a little time to come in, but I'm going to get started with the opener. Okay, so last week we were talking about how um, women can know how to pick a good man, and that conversation got really deep. And one of my faithful viewers, my loyal sister, uh, came on, and she was in the comments, and I was like, man, we got to send you a link. We got to send you a link. There's something going on there. And Wednesday we continued that conversation. So if you didn't see it, go back, go back, go back. You got to see it. You got to see it. That was a powerful um, um, episode. I don't know. That was just a moment. It was a moment, and it was really powerful. And I really appreciate my sister. And let me see in these comments. Um, yeah, so I appreciate. I'm give everybody some more time to get in here, but I appreciate my sister Jackie for coming on because I promise you, it gets real out here, and she really opened up, and she even offered her services, to more people that may have been watching and may feel like they could, be in need of her services. So if you did not see that episode, you missed a special treat. You missed a special treat. We are going to get back to them. I'm going to wait. I'm still waiting for them to drop me a line to see when they're available because they have a happy end to that story. And you got to see it. You have to see it because it is amazing. So we're going to continue that conversation. Let's see. Okay. Hi, Sean Anthony. How you doing? Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Looking at these comments over here. Okay, so I wanted to get back to the conversation because that was a really deep conversation that we had about getting on and seeing how we can pick better men. Not necessarily pick better men, but definitely accept the offer, better offers. Let's put it that way. Accept better offers. So we want to get to that conversation. Okay. Hey, Daddy Lee. Hi, Mama Charlotte. How you all doing? It's good to see you all on here. I love how Daddy Lee and Mama Charlotte are very interactive with me. Their daughter-in-law, and they don't, necessarily make that division there because we all came into the scene a little late, but they always, very welcoming and warm. And though he doesn't know me, he warmed up. Though they don't know me, they warmed up to me rather quickly, and that was really cool and awesome. Um, it could be nerve wracking, because you just don't know. I know there's some people out there that has to get to know their in-laws or their potential in-laws, and it's like, oh man, the stories you hear, it can make it rather intimidating. So don't make that a part of why you do or do not choose the mate that you may want to choose. Um, I just happen to have a really, happy ending to that story because, as you know, I grew up with my husband, so um, it was a little easier for me. I've never thought that I would ever get married. And if you are not watching these episodes, you might want to go back and see the episode where Karen Falanda and I are talking about it. They are my longtime sisters from way back in my past, and they continue to be a presence throughout my life. And it gives a whole lot of telltale signs of who I am and why I am the way I am. Okay, so I wanted to put that out there. And I also wanted you to understand that there's a difference between your girlfriends and your sisters who you talk to about everything and you sharing all this information with. And then there's a thin line between sharing information about your mate and what you all are doing outside of what Jackie was talking about, as far as if you are in need of help because the situation is turning into a physical, violent type of situation where you need to divulge that information to your family members, your loved ones, or somebody that can help get you out of that. But outside of that, your information about your relationship, it shouldn't be everybody's business. It's not just like you don't want your man to be community lovers to everybody in the community, and you don't want your woman to be a community lover to everybody in the community. You want to make sure that your relationship is just as intimate as that. So if you're divulging information about your mate, make sure that it's positive information, because otherwise you come out looking like, man, why are you with him then if it's if it's so many problems? Why are you picking to, stay with that person? Why are you choosing to be with that person when you're worth so much more? And anybody that loves you is always going to see that added value in you to advise you that, hey, you need to be with someone better than who it is you're expressing to us that this person that you're with is in your life. So be careful of telling people when you're angry with your mate, and when that mate comes up short. You want to make sure that you're being very selective of your word choice. And I myself have a problem with word selection because sometimes I don't think people are taking me as literal as they are. Um, so when I choose a word to convey a thought, I may not be as thorough to think about, how that sound. So let's make sure you're choosing your words wisely. So when you're making a point to your family, friends, and loved ones about how your mate is and why you chose that mate and the interactions between you all, make sure you're definitely conveying that you want to be with this person for the reason that you want to be with this person. So don't always express all the flaws. Definitely make a point to say the characteristics in that person that you love or you like, or that's leading you to feel the way you are feeling. For example, when I was in the courtship with my husband, I never said anything about our interactions because I'm extremely private. I don't like to talk about things I'm going through, especially when I'm going through them. I always talk about it after the fact because I don't do emotions like that. A lot of people, they speak through their emotions, and in the moment they're emotional, and they may say some things and they have to retract those statements. They may have to say they're sorry about something that they said, even though they're not sorry about what they said. They're sorry about how it made the person feel when they said it, because they could have chose a better way to phrase it, a better way to say or express themselves, to let it be understood that you stepped on my toes and I'm mad about it. So um I've been practicing, being that way ever since I was a little girl, because I just do not like for people to um, feel bad. So if I say something, I'm like, well, let me think about it. But if I mean what I say, I have to let you know, look, I'm sorry about the way you felt about what I said. But yeah, I'm trying to find a better way to tell you, but I have to tell you because I just can't lie about it. You know, when we lie about things, in my perspective, it puts us in a dark mental space, and that's avoidable. And if you're constantly lying, and you know someone who's a competitive liar, or somebody who's always lying for reasons that seem like so insignificant, you can't understand why they're a liar. It it, it could be that they're in dark mental spaces where they really need to be delivered from, and having someone to talk to that's non-judgmental is a very good way to get that person out of those spaces. And that's why I like to talk to people and listen to what they have to say without being judgmental, without jumping to conclusions, and without interrupting what they say, because that's just rude to interrupt people before they have a time to finish what they're saying, and you're already, interrupting what they're saying. So that's why I chose psychology. Another reason, there's another little tidbit there. Got a little Easter egg everywhere in all these many episodes where it'll help you to understand some things and why the perspective that I bring is the way that I choose to bring it. So anyway, when you're trying to select which person to say, yes, I'll get to know you better to see if this relationship can blossom to forever, you need to understand that when you're saying forever or you're putting a time frame on it, make sure that that person also understands what the time frame is that you're looking at. Because if you're saying, well, it's too soon to say forever, but I'm definitely trying to look for forever, that's my end goal. But with you, I just want to take it one day at a time, one interaction at a time, one text message at a time. Just let the person know what you're doing and how you're going about it, because that would definitely help other people who are watching to understand that you're either available or you're not available. So, one of the tips of picking somebody who will be the right person for you is to be upfront and forward all the time about what it is you want. How you intend to get there it may change, but to let them know what your end goal is, even if that end goal is altered down the road because of the contributions from that person, that would be even, helpful, because you could see your growth. You could track your growth a lot better, especially if you're more open instead of hiding. Now, it's not to say that you have to pick your mate by how many children they have, how much money they have, and what they're doing at the time. Because as I stated in the Monday show, the last Monday show, I said that, um, my husband Eddie, he did not have anything. We neither one of us had anything but dreams, goals, and aspirations, and places that we thought that we wanted to be. So you had all we both had of each other was um, what do they call it? Potential. So what potential could he see in me and what potential could I see in him? So those people out there that say, don't look at somebody's potential and try to judge if that person is going to be for you or not. I'm saying that you have to take it in perspective. And go as you feel led to go, because sometimes that's all you have is someone's potential because of the circumstances in a situation. Just don't let it get out of control. For example, if they can control the circumstance, then they can control how you see their potential. If, for example, someone is saying, well, I'm working 9 to 5, but I'm my end goal is to get to be an entrepreneur where I'm working less hours and I'm delegating more hours to other people as I continue to grow the company and my ideas and my goals expand internationally and eventually globally. So that kind of statement and that kind of understanding allows a person to understand the difference between potential and someone who has a goal and dream and aspirations where they're moving towards that. So it's not to say that just because someone's not immediately moving towards that they don't have potential. It's to say make sure that you can see evidence of that progression. And once the progression stops, you know that that's your cue to step in as a helpmate to or a partner to say, hey, this is the goal. We got to keep moving. That's enough rest. We've had some rest, and even if the rest was planned, if the rest wasn't planned, and you just take the punches as they roll, and you say, well, look, we've hit an obstacle, but that's okay. We're going to take it as a little break. You know, that's how I look at things. I'm always upbeat, even, in the most severe situations, because you have to remain calm and you have to continue to move forward. And it's sometimes difficult to press forward, and that's okay. Just keep pressing forward. Okay. What is this? Eddie says you can't have potential without being, uh, look, a lot of times people, they don't know how that they're showing potential and how um, they're showing that they're just a dreamer. So let's touch on that. So if you are unable to move because you're working 16-hour shifts, you're working 16-hour shifts, and you're like, well, I'm so tired, I can't do more, but everybody can see the potential in you. And it's like, but I don't have it in me, I don't have it in me. This is the difference. Okay, you working 16-hour shifts, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're drained, you have a bunch of kids you have to support, family members, ill family members, all these other activities that you're doing. But you know what, you're still making that time to do and keep moving towards that goal, that end goal that you have, even if it's nothing but a moment at a time, even if it's a day at a time, even if it's 5 minutes out of your day. You're doing something to progressively get towards that potential that the people are seeing in you, that potential that you want people to see in you, that says, oh, okay, you are a go-getter, you have dreams, you have goals, and yeah, one day you're going to be a big star. Okay, but what are you doing every day to work on that? It's like a vocalist. You can't say, well, I'm going to be a great singer one day, I'm going to be a great vocalist one day. And it's like, you're not necessarily, you don't have to be signed to a contract or anything like that, but every day you're singing. Every day, even if you're busy and you could be a telemarketer, and you're like, well, I have a script I have to follow. So, but in between the calls, you're singing. You're taking the time to continue to exercise your voice. You're taking the time to progress towards the thing that you have dreamed that you want to be. So it's a big difference between potential and a big dreamer. A big dreamer. And a big dreamer, while it may be nice to be with a big dreamer, if that's who you choose, you don't have to be with somebody that, hi, Cosmic Kitty, you don't have to be with someone who necessarily is saying, okay, I'm with this person because they have potential. You can just be with the person because you just like the fact that they are a dreamer, that they have this wild imagination, and it's entertaining to you, it's inspirational to you. But this cannot positively contribute to anything else, any money that you're bringing into the house, any goals and aspirations that you have. But this is just the person that you picked, that this is who you want to be with, and that has to be okay with you, before it's okay with anyone else. You're not seeking validation for the person that you choose, that you want as your mate, and you're not picking the length of time, because that's something that both of you have to work out together. But you don't necessarily have to pick your mate according to how it pleases other people. you know anyway, so um you have to understand that when you have your own understanding, as when you're picking your mate, you don't owe anyone else an explanation. You don't owe anyone anything. All you are trying to do is work out an arrangement with your mate in order for you and your mate to be happy with your decision. So back to picking the right person. Okay, so if, for example, sometimes you just don't know if that person is your person, and you'll test that person. I have seen so many people try to test people, and it's like not working out in their favor. And they're like, well, I don't know, I'm testing them and they're failing the test. Well, maybe you need to be a little bit more vocal. Maybe your test is being presented to them in such a challenging way that they're like, look, I am not going to constantly prove myself. So there's a difference between testing somebody to see if they're loyal, if they're really committed, if they really mean what they say when they say they love you, and testing them beyond their means, beyond their measure of having to always prove to you the same thing that they've proven to you. If they say they in your corner, they gonna roll with you till the wheels fall off, then let them experience the wheels falling off. Don't make the wheels fall off. Let them experience it. So when it does happen, you're like, well, look, you told me you with me till the wheels fall off. The wheels are starting to fall off. Are you still with me? Are you still gonna be there for me? And from there, you can see that yes, they're gonna be there for you. They're in your corner. This is your person. Don't constantly keep trying to contrive a situation that's gonna put them to the test. That is not fair. And so when the test finally comes, they're exhausted. They're tired of you. So you don't want them to be tired of you. You want them to, enjoy you and experience the experiences that you're experiencing with you. So it's not to say put them to the test, it's to allow them to experience the trials and tribulations that you're going through, experience what it's like to be with you. So it's not necessarily that, oh, well, I made up this situation and you failed the test. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That's not fair. You wouldn't want that to happen to you. And, a lot of times guys might do that. And a lot of times, guys will lie and say that that's what they did and you failed the test when really, you didn't fail the test. What you did was he found that you have self-esteem and you have a line in the sand that he might not have known was there, that you must be respected if he's going to be with you. You must show this kind of level of respect, that you don't put me out on Front Street, or you don't sit there and show a lack of support when I'm down or when I'm in need. You have to understand the difference between someone saying, oh, that was I put you to the test, and oh, you failed the test, and experiencing what that person is like. Now once you experience what that person is like, don't forget, even if you choose to be with that person, don't forget what they like. Don't forget what they are like. Don't forget who they are. Don't forget who they showed you that they are in different group settings. For example, if you're on a group date and the person, your mate, is exhibiting characteristics that you do not approve of, now you understand that if you're going to be with this person, don't be in the social environment with a group of people. Okay, if you're going to be with this person, you're going to have to understand how to get along with this person and how you can feel more comfortable being with this person, if that is the person that you choose to be with. But if you're choosing someone because of what other people say and how other people feel like y'all get along or don't get along, then you're never going to be able to find that right person or accept the offer to the right person for you, because you're always looking to people please, and you can't please your mate for trying to people please. Okay, so if, for example, a group of people say that they like a character that you've brought around and that they think is the person for you, and you're like, no, I don't like this person. That person and I were just hanging around, chilling and kicking it, and I just bought that person because that person was funny to hang with, and the person that I wanted to be with was not available. Don't let people talk you into being with a person because they feel that that person is suited to you. You have to wait and see if that person is suitable for you. And if that person is not as suitable for you as the person that you have chosen, you need to stick to your guns and pick the person that you feel is best for you. You also have to understand that when you pick a person, yeah, that's kind of their representative, but at the same time, you have a sneak preview of what's to come. So if you're seeing things that you do not like about that person, it's your time and opportunity to help that person understand what you didn't like about them, what it is they need to change. And just remember that they don't need to be perfect to fit into your life. It's a lot of imperfections in relationships, especially long-term relationships. I cannot tell you, when I say, for example, when people say, oh, you've been married forever, I'm like, yes, and every day I have to make that decision. What I'm saying is, it's challenging. And every day you are making the decision to move forward, press on, move forward, press on, move forward, press on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because even in anything that you do, in a business, in a relationship with your mom, your dad, work relationship, whatever the relationship is, you're still constantly working and moving and trying to get every day, make that decision to keep pressing forward, keep growing, keep moving towards something that you are trying to get, which is your end goal. And your end goal is to be as happy as you could possibly be with whatever the choices are that you made. So if you made those decisions, you only have yourself to look at to say, look, we have to improve. Look, we have to make better decisions. Look, we have to, that's a personal conversation. That's not a conversation that anybody else can help you with, because everyone has their own individual life and their decisions that somehow support their end goal. So it's not to say that people are going to make decisions and it's only going to be based on what suits them, but you have to keep that in mind that they're making decisions based on how they feel and how it's going to grow what their end goal is to manifest their end goal. So keep your end goals in mind. And as your end goals are in alignment with the person that you choose to be with, then you'll find harmony, peace, the dark spaces, the dark thoughts in your mind will seem to dissipate a bit more fluidly, as opposed to be like a stubborn stain that just doesn't seem to go away. And you will also find that the more you talk with people who are like minded, people who are in long term relationships, like you're trying to get in or be in or continue to be in, you'll find that a lot of the problems that you had in your past made it possible for you all to push forward through the future. So those stumbling blocks that you encounter in the first in the elementary years of y'all relationship or whatever, don't look at it as this is the end. This is definitely the end. It might be that this is what grows you. This is what's going to feed your relationship to be the happy ending that you so desperately want. But you do not want something like that at your own detriment, where it's killing you to try to make that happen. For example, if you picking a guy and he's like, "Oh well, baby, I got you, I got you, I got you," and suddenly, comes a time where you're down, you're out, or you need a little cash, extra cash, and he can't hustle up on it and say, "Hey, I don't have it. You know how my money is. You know my money funny. I got all this child support, all these kids I gotta pay for. My mama asked me to borrow some money." Whatever his problem is that he can't physically support you or financially support you, it's always a possibility for you to understand if the person is lying to you about how they would support you if they could, without you, contriving a situation and saying, "Well, that's the fifth time and I didn't really need no money. I didn't really need you. I just wanted to see if you was going to do." Yeah. Sometimes we don't come off as being sincere, and they're like, "Well, yeah, I can't do it this time. I can't make that sacrifice this time because that I'm not feeling the level of sincerity that calls or justifies such a sacrifice." And that could be what is being conveyed there, more so than I just can't do it. I'm not going to do that. So you have to make sure that you're as sincere as the experience that you're experiencing, so that that person isn't um, being taken for granted, and you're not taking it in vain that they're saying that they're going to be there for you, and the situation comes up and it's like, "Oh, I trusted you in vain. You're not there for me. You're not going to help me." And you also have to realize that everybody that's in a relationship doesn't need help. Everybody that's in a relationship doesn't need you to fix them. You don't need to have a project. Some people, they get into a relationship because that's a project, and they're like, "Well, I can help you. I can fix you. I can do this for you. I can do that. I can see me fitting in your life because I can see how I can help you grow, how I can help you." You have to step back from someone that's doing that, because you have to understand, can you reciprocate that? And if you can't reciprocate that, and if this person deserves that, if this is what you would want if it was you, you have to try to step back from that and have a different conversation with that person. Don't let yourself be in a situation where you're always building someone else, or you're always allowing someone else to feed into you, pour into you, build you, and you're not doing the same in return, because that's considered abusive. That's considered taking advantage of someone. That's considered being very inconsiderate of other people. So you want to make sure that you're not doing that and taking advantage of people. So now that we've covered how to pick a mate, we're going to get back to the Hayes household whenever they drop a line to me, so you can see how they were able to manifest um, the progression from being in an undesirable relationship to being healed and completely recovered and in a magnificent relationship now. But I saw a few. I just wanted to end that episode where we spoke about those things, and it got, it veered over to something else, and we never did get back to it. So I wanted to make sure for those who are interested in understanding that you have that I provided the capstone to that understanding. Okay, so I want you to go back to those episodes and remember. Make sure you are commenting, make sure you're interacting. And if you have, for example, if you come into the show and you're like, well, I have a question, I want to do this, I want to try this, make sure that when we get them back on, that you're commenting and you're asking your questions, you're addressing the things you want to know so that you can figure out how you can apply that information and their understanding to your situation. For example, there's been times where Philanda and I are on the show, and somebody, one of our husbands, will come on and they'll say something, and we'll comment to that particular statement, and that's growing the conversation. It's not to say that you are, well, it's to say that with your interaction comes better feedback so that we can stay on topic and stay on the things that you want to see. I was watching a couple of YouTubers and I got so raptured with that. It was some YouTubers with aquariums because, of course, I love aquariums. See it in the back. So anyway, I was watching a couple of YouTubers, and this one guy who does it is a do-it-yourself type of thing. He was so frustrated because he was like, I'm trying to give you what you want, and I'm trying to, tell you this, and you don't want to have the long drawn out episodes where I'm elaborating on how to get from A to B, but I don't know how to do it other than to make it a little lengthy, because in order for you to get from A to B with some of these things, then I have to be a little more lengthy. And to those YouTubers, I would definitely say, do you stop going out there trying to cloud chase? Don't chase them. They're there with you, watching you for a reason, and I'm watching too, because I, quite frankly, I thoroughly enjoy these aquarium YouTubers that's putting it out there. I was looking for more female YouTuber aquarists because I'm like, are there any women that's in this hobby? Now, I'm so deep in this hobby that I was thoroughly enjoying myself, and I was like, oh Lord, I got to get ready for the show. And we always have some sort of technical issues where we're trying to get everything set up. It's not like we're, in the studio. We're in our home environment where we have to set this stuff up new every time. So a lot of the YouTubers are also in that situation where they're trying to set the things up at the same time as live their life. So he was so frustrated, and I felt so hard, about saying something, speaking to that, because there's a lot of people out here that's trying to be YouTuber influencers, and they're doing a good job, and they're passing out some really guided perspective that everyone can use. And a lot of these people with a lengthy following of viewers, and they have these aquariums where they've been posting for years or months or whatever, and they're showing you all these little changing things that's happening with the hobby. It's hard to see them frustrated and hurt because they're trying to give the viewers what they want to see. So my advice would be, stick to the people who are feeding you and growing you. Yes, sometimes it's the hard comments that's growing you because it's challenging you to do better. But a lot of times it's the faithful viewers that's watching you despite the length of your videos. So a lot of times those lengthy videos, I'm happy about them because I'm like, I didn't understand, how did you transition from having such a expensive filtration system to something that was far more affordable, and it works better than that thing that was more expensive that's on the market and people are buying it every day. And if it breaks down, they go out and buy the same thing. Like, there's gotta, it's a cycle. And it's like, man, with that cycle, it's like a lot of money being invested into that project. And you're frustrated because you're like, I'm trying to tell you it's a better way, it's a more affordable way. And I can't do that if you're not listening because the video's too long. Don't worry about the video being too long, because just encourage people to put it on fast forward. It's 2 times that you can, go all the way up to the speed and watch it. But I was watching because I love this hobby, and I have all these little fish, and my friends, they clown me. They say, well, why you got that big old fish tank and you only have these tiny little fish in there? Now I'm still growing. I'm still, changing and maneuvering some things, and as I get time. I don't have a lot of time to spend to get into that, especially when, a lot of questions come up, and it's so many diverse questions. I try to get to them all. So this is the question I'm trying to get to now. So a lot of people were asking about the aquarium, and I was like trying to make time to make sure that I can get to those. So I do have videos that I've done, but I haven't posted, I haven't shared it or anything. But there are some things on my Facebook page where you can see some things, and I'll elaborate on various pictures where I'll give some details in the description of the aquarium. But there's some things coming with it. I was most recently in the aquarium making more real estate for trying to breed some of these community fish, and I'll give information as to how I accomplished it. But I am also interested in seeing how other people are accomplishing these same goals, and I'm always intrigued at how people are able to do it in an inexpensive way. Where it's like, okay, so somebody asked when I first told about the aquarium, they were like, well, why did you do it that way? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Because I didn't know any better. so, so as I learn better, I do better. So I'm trying to figure things out. I've been in the hobby for over 20 years, but it's like when you don't have time to like completely throw yourself into the project, and you're constantly learning about it in your spare time, then it's always, something else that you could do and something you can do better. And with the aquariums, I am so happy to say that you can build your own filtration system that will work far better than the ones that you purchase in the stores. And it will be far more affordable and energy saving, so that you can enjoy your hobby without um, losing your money or investing too much money into the project. Now, see, that's what adroit living is doing what you do, baby. That's the easiest way, the most succinct way to say adroit living. You're doing what they do. So I love those videos that influencers are putting out there when they're showing more uh, cost effective ways to accomplish goals. So y'all keep those videos coming, and I'm watching. If nobody else watching, I'm watching, and I share it with other hobbyists. So keep going, stay encouraged, get out of them dark spaces, man. Get out of them dark spaces. You're doing an awesome job. If you watching, if you hear this, if you know who I'm talking about, share this with them, and make sure that they understand that somebody appreciates their hard work. This particular YouTuber, he did a fantastic job of showing how you can breed different fish and what the different the mediums do, what different techniques do, and the results that it produces. So some people say, well, you can't have an aquarium if you don't have this. Well, if you know someone, and you probably do, if you know somebody that needs to mind their own business and they need to be more interactive, and it's something that's not your business or someone else's business because they forever gossiping, encourage them to get, maybe a 30-gallon, maybe a 75-gallon aquarium. If they really need to be challenged, get a 75-gallon aquarium and figure that thing out. Get some YouTube videos going and let these people show you how to create your own business. That's the only thing you should be contriving is, a hobby. that you can positively contribute to learn something new, something more complex, something that may be just a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And it might even provide a little ambiance in your home. So you can say, I don't know, put like for example, I love my aquariums because it can really set the mood. It can set the mood for a relationship. I used to have my aquarium in my room, and that's why I would have my company when I was living with my mother. So it really sets the ambiance for, having a conversation to feel, those moments where you don't have anything to say to your guests and you're like, oh, I don't know what to say. And the fish is over there and they acting out. I had African sickness, and my Oscar would always like hit the glass and make all these faces and do these really crazy things. And the fish will always be a great topic where it of conversation where the fish would be so big or they'd be so pretty, or how did you do this and what got you started. It's a conversation pleaser and it's entertaining. So you need a hobby so that you're not pouring too much of yourself into people that really don't want you to do that and would really appreciate it if you backed off just a little bit. So I would definitely encourage people that need a hobby. I would encourage them to try aquariums. It's not as expensive as you may think, not anymore, especially considering is how um, some fish stores, they will give you a deal on an aquarium, and they'll say, well, somebody ordered this and they didn't follow through with their purchase, so now it's on discount. Or some stores, they have it where you pay $1 a gallon for how whatever aquarium you get, and sometimes they have aquariums that's 109 gallons. So now you have a 109-gallon aquarium where you can set that aquarium up and play around with that aquarium to set it up for even a terrarium, so you can have a little space where you're building a space for plants, a planetarium or a terrarium where you're growing plants just to provide more oxygen in the house. I was watching a few YouTubers who do grow plants, and it was one YouTuber, um, a Asian couple, and they were talking about how they built all of these plants in their house and the environment, and it cleans the air so thoroughly they haven't been sick in years. So basically, plants were, filtering their air, taking the ailments out of the air and helping them to stay healthy, and that's freaking awesome. And I learned something new, and I was like, man, I always wish I had a green thumb so I could go on here and make some plants grow or something. But the plants you see behind me, I purchased them, and after I purchased them, I just tried to get the fish to grow them. Because I'm just gonna be honest, I have not got a green thumb to save my life. Okay, so the only thing that I could think of is how the environment works to kind of grow itself, to heal and cure and do what it do without human interaction. And how is that? Light, fish, water, that sort of thing. And that's the only way I'm growing any plants currently, successfully. That is. So that's how that's what I'm doing. And I definitely encourage you to do the same thing, especially if you need something to help you stay in positive mental health spaces. And this is something I've been doing for over 20 years. I'm not trying to date myself, but it's been well over 20 years that I've been trying to get this underway and stay in positive mental health spaces. And it has worked for me. And I've seen where it's worked for other people. Yes, sometimes when your fish die, it's traumatic. It's an experience for you. And my sons, they do not like it, okay? Because they're the ones that's got to come and help their mom out and get the fish out of there. Come get this dead fish for me, will you? Because my husband is not doing it. He is not one of the hobbyists, so I am on my own. He is not trying to hear it. So I get my sons to help me out with any fish that might die, because I don't currently have. I used to have it where if the fish would die, then there's another fish in there that would turn it into something else. It's like food, fertilizer for the plants or what have you. But now I just have community aquariums. Um, Being military and moving from place to place, it gives you a chance to start over. Some people get upset because now you gotta, not my fish. Oh no! I would always find someone to donate those fish to, and they were always happy to receive those fish. And I would always sell it back to the pet stores. And if you can't sell it back to the pet stores, you can always donate it to the pet stores, and they'll find a home for them. So, in being able to move um, my fish, um, hobby from one state and one to another, I was able to experience different types of fish. And I think the fish that I have now, I'm most happy with them because um, I experienced everything in over 20 years. So now I'm ready to just try to grow the plants. So now I've had the fish and I've mastered the fish. Now I want to grow the plants. And for since 2018, I've been growing this aquarium behind me with the help of a couple of what is it, aquarium plant stores online, because we've been in this pandemic. So I've been able to find some more reputable companies that sell aquarium plants, and it transfers better that way than going to a pet store where the pet store is just selling products. They're not necessarily specializing in that particular thing. They're just providing you a service, and you basically have to figure it out from there. And there's no guidance, if any, that could get you from being a beginner to being an expert. um, so what I like is that when you go to a reputable company who provides a service for you, they're invested in helping you to see success. And when you pay a lot of money for something, like when you pay a lot of money to go to school, and you're paying like $3,000, $4,000 for these classes, you're paying for the level of expertise that you expect to receive and benefit from in a timely fashion, where you're saying, well, I'm well invested into this, and I'm going out of my way to do everything that I have to do to get this expert advice, and you want to see results. What is Eddie saying? I versus I'm not saying I'm totally alone. I don't care. Yes, you definitely don't care to clean it or help out in any other way other than making fun of me that, okay, you killed another plant, you then killed another fish. But that's a part of the challenge. That's a part of the fun too, being able to laugh at yourself. Yes, it's heartbreaking, and it is so detrimental to your mental status when you lose a fish and you're like, man, I tried everything I could to bring that fish. I purchased that fish. It was a project, and I purchased it. It wasn't doing well in the store, but I purchased it anyway because I got a good deal on it. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and try to save it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't waste your money, because yes, I understand. It's just not your thing. And that's what I said, with picking a person that doesn't have to be their thing. And it has to be okay with you. As long as your not my thing doesn't interfere with it's my thing, we cool, so I don't care. But when you see a fish, for example, my son wanted this Chinese water dragon so bad that he took on a project of a sick Chinese water dragon. But he took on the project knowing that the Chinese water dragon was going to die very shortly. And, it was with all his love, time, and attention, and all the affection he gave the little dragon, and all the time he spent with the dragon. It made his end time far more pleasing, and it elongated his end time. But when the end came, he accepted that. And it wasn't a financial loss because it was free. And the all the material that I used and invested into housing the animal, it still wasn't a loss, because that was an experience that my son had that I can't put a price tag on. So if you're involved in something and you feel like there's no return on it, just remember that it's not just about getting the end goal. It's also about getting the experience that came with it, the getting all the moments that came in between the dream and the manifestation of the dream. So don't limit yourself to say, well, I have to have success, I have to be successful, because it's not always about being successful. It's about enjoying the moment, enjoying the experience, and living in the moment and enjoying it, and having something that you can look back on and say, well, I tried it. I tried it. And that's how I look at um anyway. I don't know what that statement was supposed to be. But anyway, um it's you have to look at things in a more positive light, because sometimes your attempts may not bring about the most desirable outcome. And it's okay. Just take it, like water to a duck's back, because it's going to be times where the success that you have did not necessarily define you, and it doesn't define you. Just like the failures that you have do not define you. They may challenge you and push you to do bigger and better the next time, or to go a different route. And in that route, you're bringing something new to the table because of those failures, because of those things that didn't lead to success. Not necessarily that it was a failure, but it just didn't lead to the outcome that you desired to have. But now, because of the experience, you're able to build bigger, think bigger, do better. And now it's such a much better project, an end project, because of all of that color that you had in the past, the failures, the problems, the undesirable things that happened that you couldn't control. And now you can control for those things because you had the experience that those undesirable moments created for you. So I would definitely encourage you to watch some of those YouTubers that's more experienced in the hobby than I might be. I've I've had over 20 years in it, so um, I don't necessarily put everything out there, and I really appreciate the fact that they do, because they have the time to do it. They're dedicated to doing it, and they want you to succeed. So watch those YouTubers, support them, subscribe to them, and definitely drop them a line of encouragement, because yeah, this is crazy, this hobby, and we are really well invested in our heart with these animals that we try to provide for and grow and perpetuate the hobby. A lot of people don't, you know, are not Aquarius because it's from what they can see, it's an expensive hobby. But there's so many new things out here that makes it far more affordable. For example, I was talking about the filtration. The filtration can run a couple of $100s, and it can run your electric bill really high. And you're like, well, I don't know. Let's weigh it. I don't know if I want to do that. No longer is that the case, because now the air that you provide in the aquarium, for example, all that air I'm providing in the aquarium behind me is not necessarily just air. It's also a filtration system that's filtering the water so that the water can be suitable for the fish to live and have a long life and reproduce, so that I don't have to keep going back to the store to buy fish. So a lot of times, when you're interested in something, keep an eye on it, see how it changes. Technology changes every 6 months. And really, by the 12th month, you should have mastered it 6 months ago, because by the 12th month, it's another change that's coming in the pipeline that people are trying to manifest to implement in the current, times and whatever the structure may be. So the same thing is with the aquarium hobby. They have so many things now where you don't even have to be home in order to feed your fish. You don't have to be home in order to turn the light on your aquarium. You don't have to be home in order to change the way the waters are moving in your aquarium. It's freakishly fun. I'm just saying, because a lot of the technology, a lot of people who have other interests, such as people who were into the aquarium hobby, but they had a job as a computer technician or they had a job as an engineer. Now they've contributed to the hobby in such a way that makes the hobby more reachable to more people so that more people can experience playing with the aquariums and growing fish and enjoying the site at home and not just in the doctor's office, not just in the restaurants where they may have these fish tanks already set up. And you may think that it's unobtainable because I can't do fish like that. I can't. Yes, you can, because there are YouTubers out here that's showing you. And if you ask in the comments in this interactive program, I will definitely tell you how I did it, how much money it costs, and how you can do it as well. Because I don't just use expensive products, because sometimes expensive products are just unobtainable because you have other means of doing it. And not just because you don't have the money, or you don't want to invest that kind of money, but because there's other ways of doing it. So it's just completely illogical as to why you would pick the most expensive route. So but then again, if you want to go the most expensive route, you go ahead and you do that. But for the most part, you don't want to have to go that route. Like it's the only way you can do something. So it's not the only way you can accomplish these same results. Because I promise you, um, I have over the years accomplished the goal, and it was like I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just really following directions without having the understanding of what it was I was doing. But once I obtained the understanding of what it was I was doing, I was able to reproduce those results without having to spend as much money as I did in my ignorance of how to do it. So once I learned better, I did better, and it was a lot more affordable. What Ty say? I just lost my black ghost nice fish. And my 6 months after 6 years. Yeah, and it hurts, man. It hurts. I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain. And it's like sometimes those things happen and it's unexplainable. And yeah, it could put you in a bad mental headspace because you invested a lot of love, time, and money. But all good things come to an end. And life keeps going, and sometimes it ends. And maybe that fish was ready to go. And that's the way I look at it too. Sometimes, the fish has lived this life and it's nothing more it could do. And it was a happy environment, and it knows that you loved it, and you may have even hand fed the fish. I don't go that far. I'm like, I like the fish, but I'm not touching them. I'm not hand feeding these fish, and I'm not picking it up and rubbing it and calling it. Some of the fish, though, are able to, do that. And some people say, well, fish are a good pet because you don't have to touch it, and no touching is involved. But actually, yes, there you can. Some people they hand feed their fish, and that's fine. That's awesome. I watch those videos where these people are literally feeding their fish with their hand, and the fish readily accepts the food from their owner. And some people say fish are skittish, they're scared, and they'll run away. These fish have brains. They think, they love, they experience, and they feel. And it's really nice that they're giving you back the love you're giving them. So if you're looking for someone that's going to give you back the same love and energy that you're giving and pouring into them, I would strongly suggest the fish. And it's always something going on in that fish tank. Like I can't even tell you how many different communities of fish there's in here, because you have your janitorial fish, you have your show fish, and you have the fish that's there, the pick up behind the janitors, because the janitors aren't, and there's different types of janitors. So it's always something going on, and they're all interacting. They all have their own personalities, and they all have their own interests. And it's nice to see them pick a mate. It's nice to see them have their mating rituals. And it's really, really awesome and rewarding to see them reproduce and how they treat their offspring. And a lot of them are egg layers and not live bearers. So it's really cool to watch all of that and to see how that, comes out. What did Eddie say? I hand fed a fish. Yeah, I bought my husband a fish one time. It was the whole system. A guy was giving it away, and he was moving. I think it was, military people. They leave and they're like, well, I don't want to do this anymore because my mate isn't happy with it. So he just so happened to be giving it away, and so we bought the whole system, and the fish that was in it was a red devil, and he had his own attitude. I mean, he was mean. It couldn't have anything else in the aquarium with it because it was just too mean. And I didn't think my husband would, but he liked it. He wanted it, and he enjoyed it, and he hand fed that fish. Are you know what I'm saying? Hey sis, how's it going? People that are feeding their fish by hand needs to get the. You read that comment. You read that comment, Eddie. She said it. She said it, and I'm gonna have to agree. So yeah, he was angry. Yeah, it was crazy. And it was the most crazy thing about it is to learn that that fish had an attitude, a personality. It had a character. And it makes me wonder because I'm really deep into psychology. It makes me wonder, you know, it makes me wonder. I've reached my hour. It makes me wonder because I love the human mind and behavior, and I'm always looking at animals and even computer technology, computer information, computers and artificial intelligence, and the argurated intelligence as well. All of these things fascinate me because I love, love, love the human mind and behavior, and I have all my life. So I'm always looking to learn more and do more with it. But more importantly than anything, I love my aquariums because it helps me to be at peace no matter what's going on around me. And yeah, it makes me think a lot of the religious aspects to it as well. But that's my time, and I'll do more about the fish. I promise you, I will do far more about the fish. But I just want to make sure that I ended the episode a little bit more conclusively with when we were talking about how to pick a mate. And I definitely encourage you that if you have a hobby of being, into aquariums and your mate doesn't, make sure that your mate knows what they're getting into because you don't have to change your hobby for anybody. Okay? And even though that's not my husband's thing, hey, he deal with it. And if he don't want to deal with it, I think we're gonna lose the husband before we lose the aquariums. And I think he know that. So I think he on board. I think he on board. My little crabs kept finding a way how to get. Oh, one time my aquarium was right there next to my. Oh, I was sleeping right next to my aquarium, and the crab. I did not know that they could do that. It got out. It got out, and it was crawling on my comforter, and I felt something. I was like, what? I woke up. I'm a very light sleeper because I kind of battle with insomnia. So I woke up. I was like, oh my God. I screamed. I was like, God, oh my God. I'm screaming at the thing. I don't touch these things. So it got ugly. I'm just saying. It was throwing me off. Well, it was nice to have that fish and to learn, the different things. It was challenging. But I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. We're going to talk more about fish because I do have some things coming up. Just a little teaser for you. I said I made some more real estate in my aquarium because, like I said, I changed my aquariums from being African cichlids that are more aggressive to having more community fish. As you can see in the background, for the last several years, I've been changing from having artificial aquarium to a planted aquarium. So that's my new thing with the aquarium is having live plants, and that's helping with air quality and things like that. So make sure you keep your eyes open because in a minute, I'm going to have a surprise for you with the aquariums. Okay. So also, like, subscribe, and comment. And make sure you go back and watch Sister Jackie's testimonial about how she turned some really dark things around to really positive. And if it's possible for her, it's possible for you too. And if you enjoying these fish, let's talk about it in these comments for the next time. So like, subscribe, share, and don't forget, come on when I'm on Mondays at 5 p.m. CST and 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So we could talk about these things because, yeah, if you want to talk more about the fish, I can show you as I'm telling you, and that will be far more fun, I think. So, because I don't think anyone else is doing that currently. I don't know. It's so many influencers out there. They might just be doing it. But if you want to know and you want to see, you got to say something in these comments. All right. Until Wednesday, when I return on Wednesday, um, I normally come on Wednesday, and if I have a guest, I'll come at their convenience. So you have to subscribe and ring that bell because if you don't, you won't know when I'm on. So make sure you ring that bell. And if I don't have a guest that I bring on, I'm only going to do pro tips, and it may last for about 20. It'll be a short. So I only go on for the length of time that the guest is on so I don't cut them off. So be mindful of that. And I will definitely hit y'all in these comments to make sure that I'm going as, that you're following along and I'm taking you along through the conversation with me. Because like I said in the very first episode, I'm trying to take you along with me. I'm not trying to talk at you. Okay. So this is not what that is. I'm talking with you. If you're talking at me, if you're talking with me, I'm gonna reciprocate that. All right. All right. Until next time, remember, mental health is physical wealth. All right.